Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us today, Thursday, December 5th, 2024, broadcasting to you live from the Orion spiral arm of the Milky Way galaxy, the solar system, planet Earth, North America, the United States of America, an undisclosed location for reasons of security and therefore insecurity. My name is Brian Engelman. This is the Unhappy Hour sports show powered by the new American media because the old American media has failed you. Thank you for joining us on today's program. We're going to talk to you about the Buckeyes and the playoff chances and the ramifications of dropping that one to that team up north. We're going to talk about the Cavaliers cruising, crushing, bouncing back against the Seas. And of course, we're going to talk about Jameis Winston throwing for 500 yards, but getting the loss. How does this impact our draft position? What do we do at quarterback? How is Nick Chubb doing? How do we address the line? All of that and more on today's episode.
Eric Metcalf, and you're watching Unhappy Hour.
All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us. We're trying to go live on Instagram. Don't know how to do it through, well, I don't know. Haven't figured it out yet, but there's a lot of ways to follow the Unhappy Hour. Go on Spotify and get our podcast, the Unhappy Hour Sports Show on Spotify, our podcast. Subscribe to that, please. We're having some growth with our other show, the Agree to Disagree show, on Spotify as well. But follow the Unhappy Hour Sports Show on Spotify. Subscribe to both channels on YouTube. One is the New American Media. That's the main channel. Then go ahead and hit up the Unhappy Hour channel as well. That is separate. Rumble, the New American Media. On X, you want to do at American_media_, as well as for sports at the Unhappy Hour _, at the Unhappy Hour _ and subscribe there. We're also doing another live show now. It's called Strictly Football. Strictly Football. And Mike Barra, as seen on Ancient Aliens, he joins us. We share a studio, and I jump on his show. He jumps on this one. We kind of just jump on each other's shows because why not? We all have a lot to say. We have opinions, and we covered the same things. So that show will be 5 o'clock today live. We would love to take your questions in the chat room. If you have any conversation to add, please type it in the chat, however you're following us, watching us now on YouTube or X. Type in hello, type in hi, type in watching, listening, and say, hey, we're watching on this, we're watching on that, we're checking out the show this way or that. Love to connect with you. So look, all of that being said, let me just jump into the world of sports. Where do we begin? Let's go ahead and start with the NBA. Look, we're going to get to Ryan Day losing to that team up north. We're going to get to Jameis and the Browns. I just want to give you a quick overview of what's going on in the NBA. By the way, here's a good game tonight on NBA TV. Cleveland will be hosting the Denver. Why do I want to call them the Rockies? The Nuggets. I really wanted to call them the Rockies. The Denver Rockies. But the Cavaliers, they bounced back recently against the Boston Celtics. I mean, is it going to be a two-team race down the stretch? Well, I mean, look, head and shoulders above everybody above 800 winning percentage in the East. That's the Boston and Cleveland. So we've now split. We lost that game a couple games ago to the Celtics, and now we are kind of tied with them, at least on the season for that matter. It was an important shift. Cavs got a little healthier. Look, these are the two behemoth teams in the league. Of course, in the East, the Magic, Knicks, Bucks. Don't sleep on the Bucks. They started poorly, but they're starting to bounce back. In the Hawks as well, in the top half of the league. And look, take a look at the Western Conference. There's nobody in the 800 winning percentage club. So, I mean, and look, by the way, there's Dallas Mavericks. They started off quite miserably, but they're 9-1 in their last 10 games. So people starting to talk about LeBron James. Is he taking a step back? Are you seeing some signs of aging? The Lakers rather, slipping into that 9 spot at 12-10, just 4-6 in their last 10. But I will delve deeper into the world of basketball with you when I bring in people like Zach Barris. Zach has joined our show many times over many years. You can go in the archives on the YouTube channel to find all of that. But he served as a NBA scout, a Pac-12 scout, college scout, And so we kind of break down the game of NBA a little differently in more detail. So I'll save some of that more in-depth conversation for that. Let me. I was going to go to the NCAA, but let me get to. And by the way, I'm doing a truncated. How do you pronounce that? What is the name of that word? TRUNCT. Truncated. I was adding an extra syllable. Shortened in duration or extent. Truncated. I've been trying to say that and spell that incorrectly all day. Not all day, but a couple of times. But since today's show is going to be a little tight, a little more focused. Look, I did live streams for the Buckeyes game. I did live streams for the Browns game. So I was there giving my opinions in real time, reacting to it. So normally I would try to give a full analysis the day after the game, but it's like if I'm doing a 4-hour live stream, you're kind of hearing everything I got to say in the moment. Ta-da. I know we live in a culture of sound bites, 60-second shorts. And yeah, I should figure out the way to do that, get Opus Clip or some of these other software packages that'll grab you those moments and put little segments together so you can get clips of the show. But yeah, I have a lot of thoughts. I have a lot of thoughts on both. So I'm going to call an audible here, and I'm going to go ahead and switch back to Cleveland. I want to talk about the game. Monday Night Football. I actually had an interesting interaction. Let me see if I can pull this up. Jason Kelce. We were watching the game, and just kind of out of nowhere, I click on the game and I see that they're doing a segment. Let me go ahead and share this tab. Let me go small. There we go. So I'm watching Monday Night Football. I don't normally watch Monday Night Football. I watch the Cleveland Browns because that's what I'm the biggest fan of. And I type, make sure you're following us at @the_unhappy_hour right here. But I say, why is Jason Kelce wearing Broncos gear? He's from Cleveland. And I tagged our new show at TNAM Football. Make sure you're following us, please. We definitely want you following us. And Mike Barra for that new show. And so Jason Kelce responded because, look, Jason Kelce and Travis Kelce, they're from outside of Cleveland. And look, the Denver Broncos hold a special place. This doesn't go for every team. If there's not much of a history, it doesn't matter all that much, right? But for the Broncos, the Denver Broncos, led by John Elway, they kept the Cleveland Browns out of 2 straight Super Bowls. The Browns could have won that game against the Redskins, and I forget who the second one was against. Maybe the Giants. The Broncos got mopped both games. We could have won 2 Super Bowls. And so the entire history of our team trajectory was changed by that. And so that's one of the teams that you just can't casually wear their jersey. Now, I didn't understand this, but look, Jason Kelce, we got more than 500,000 views on this message here, 528,000 views. And Jason responded this way. He said, every tailgate I go into Monday Night Football, I wear a jersey honoring a former great of the home team. For the Jets, I wore Abdul Salam's jersey to honor him after his passing as one of the great members of the Sack Exchange. For the Steelers game, I wore my friend and deskmate Ryan Clark's jersey. For the Chiefs, I wanted to honor Abner Hayes and his contributions to the game in many ways. That rhymes, sort of. Tonight, I wore Tom Nayland's jersey as one of the legendary centers of the game and a guy I looked up to and watched when learning the position as undersized center. I like honoring great players of this league while venturing into the tailgates of teams' fans. But I told everyone in the tailgate I was rooting for the Browns, and when we were making our picks for who was going to win the game, I said I can't bring myself to pick against my hometown team and pick the Browns solely because of that. So I just want to thank Jason Kelce. I want to also invite him to join us on an episode of the Unhappy Hour here. Look, we cover sports. We cover Cleveland sports, Indians, Cavs, Browns, Buckeyes centric, but anything across the league, we'll cover it because we love sports, but we have our hometown roots. So I had a suggestion that maybe I could offer Jason for his future segments. Not that he needs my help. He's doing quite well. However, if you would like to hear an expansion of, how could any Cleveland Browns fan ever put a Ravens jersey on their body? They stole our team. Oh, you're so bitter. You're damn right I'm bitter. And they missed the extra point. What was it? The kick did not go in for the Broncos that advanced them to the Super Bowl, but they called it in anyway. No, I'm not over that either. But look, I understand the point of the segment, but I was actually unaware of the point of the segment. I was just half watching it while eating dinner, preparing dinner, and it was on, and I just glanced like, he's a Browns fan. How could you wear a Broncos jersey? So his response, it was thoughtful. It was polite. It repped Cleveland and kind of set that record straight a little bit because he knew, kind of the gist of where I was coming from on that question. But I was unaware of the segment. But how about this as a proposed solution to a problem that might not exist except in my head? But I think it does because there's conflicted loyalties. And that's fair for anybody, not just you, Jason. What about this? What if you got an Ohio? Look at this right here. All roads lead home. I think is what that says. There you go. So if you had a patch that was shaped like that, the Ohio patch. By the way, here's a reminder. If you want to get some merch, we do have sets of 4 wooden coasters, Ohio made and Ohio burned wooden coasters shaped in the state of Ohio that say the Unhappy Hour Sports Show. Make a donation on Venmo at Brian Engelman and give me your address and I'll mail them to you. $30 for one, $50 for two, and $75 if you also want me to send one of our collector's edition pins for the Unhappy Hour Sports Show. Only 100 will ever be made that look just like this. But that being said, what about it? How do we feel about making a patch in the shape of Ohio and you stitch it onto every opponent's jersey that you have to go to? And you're blah, 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 and you're having a fun time making content and drinking beer and having a good time and eating barbecue. But like, whoa, but aren't you a Browns fan? And you point to your heart, and it's shaped like Ohio. And maybe halfway through it, it's Cleveland Browns colors and a Browns logo. What would you pick? The elf or the helmet? Elf or the helmet or the dog? And then on the other half, it'll be green and it'll be like the eagle for the Eagles. You go, my heart's with the Browns and the Eagles forever. But I'm here today having a good time with you guys. Like, how about it? Just slap a patch, an Ohio-shaped patch with like side by anyway. But Jason Kelsey, look, I appreciate you taking the time to respond to that. So anyway, let me go back to this now. Let's talk about the game in question. The Browns. What did we learn in this game? We learned a couple of things. The Cleveland Browns threw for 497 yards and lost the game. Oh, yeah, they're showing a little interview with Nick Bonito. That Nick Bonito was everywhere making plays, man. He had one of the pick sixes in the game. But look, let's talk about a couple of things. The Jameis Winston experience, like the Jimi Hendrix experience, he's earned the right to be our starting quarterback. We're in a position where we've overpaid. Luckily, we're done paying in draft picks now, but it's just 2 years of extra salary for an enormous $130 million or something stupid. Jameis has earned the right. Sign him for a couple of years. Don't bring Deshaun Watson back. Don't even bring him back it's done. The guy's injured. He doesn't have it. He was the worst quarterback in the league when he was healthy, and he keeps getting injured, and it's a lot of fan blowback. And look, Jameis brings a different type of vibe to the team. He's unlocking players that have been getting pretty frustrated, like Jerry Jeudy, that they weren't, throw me the damn ball. Look what happens when you throw downfield. Oh, there were 2 interceptions. Yes, they can't be pick sixes. But I'm going to go ahead and blame the coaching staff on that. I think Kevin Stefanski and, I was going to say Van Pelt. Ken Dorsey. They need to do a better job of identifying when that window is getting tighter and tighter and tighter. You have to intentionally call some stop and goes. Let Jeudy go out for 10 yards and turn around on a button hook. 1,000. And then turn and go again. They were jumping the routes. And that some of that's on the coaching staff. But when you throw it as many times as you do, 58 times for Jameis Winston, that's nuts. That's not really a winning recipe. I mean, but let's be fair. It is what it was. It is what it is. It was what it was. But it's at least fun to watch. It's been miserable for 3 years with this Deshaun Watson fiasco. You know, I'm ride or die Baker Mayfield. You draft a guy, he does some good stuff for you. All right, you have a bad year, he's injured. Whatever, you bring him back, you figure it out. You make it work. I was very critical of that, but I think what we need to do now, and it's obvious to me, we're going to be drafting top 10 probably. At this point, it's probably best to be entertaining and give us an opportunity to showcase some of our skills and lose the game so that we do this. We're already locked in on Deshaun. We know it. You don't always get a chance to draft top 4, top 5, top 6, top 7, top 8. If there's a quarterback there that works, grab him and redshirt him. You could keep Watson if you absolutely have to bring him back in the building. Bring him back in the building. But Jameis is the starter. Just make the determination. We've seen enough. Jameis is our starter. We're going to work with Deshaun to get him pushing the ball downfield like Jameis was able to. And we'll keep him as a backup plan, and we'll keep our rookie insulated from being thrust into action before he's ready. Why have the Green Bay Packers only had 3 quarterbacks over the past 40 years? They draft a kid, and they let him sit for a couple of years. They let him learn. They let him keep practicing and settle in. Don't rattle his confidence. I'm not completely against throwing a rookie in and seeing what they got, though, either. But in our unique situation, we got Deshaun Watson. He's super expensive. He's not getting it done. He's the worst quarterback in the league statistically. Jameis has shown us enough, 500 yards passing. Improve his running game so you can balance that out and get some wins. So that's what I think we need to do. I think we learned that. I think Judy Judy set a record. Judy went back to his old team and crushed. Great day for me I traded for him in my Dynasty Football League the day before, the morning of that game. And boy, was I pleasantly surprised. Unfortunately, I also traded for Nick Chubb and Jerome Ford, and that running game is non-existent. Nick Chubb is going to require a little bit more time to get ready on the season. We can see it. We know it. But also, who cares? Keep going. I don't see the entire problem of offensive running game production being that Nick Chubb is no good. I'm not seeing that. He can plow. He gets down. He puts his head down and he moves the pile forward. He's a power back. I don't know. I've seen a little bit. It's just a question of who gets to draft. Who was really behind the decision to do the Deshaun Watson trade? To throw Baker Mayfield in the trash like he's a bum. He's not a bum. And judging him too harshly for his injury season, that was on the coach and the GM. They should have said, kid, I appreciate your moxie. You came in, you gave it all you had. You were injured, couldn't get it done. We're going to bench you for your own good. Please get the surgery, but you're not seeing the field again for us because we're anticipating you get the surgery so that you can come back fresh and healthy for us next year to go to the playoffs again instead of whatever this year turned into. That's what the adults should have done. They should have sat Baker down and told him, we've made a decision as a team. You're done, kid. And we appreciate you giving it out. All you have, it's gutsy, but you don't have it. You can't play like yourself. We want you to get healthy. It's the same thing with Nick Chubb. It's like, when are you going to be ready? Are you going to be ready the first year after the surgery, or are you going to need a second year? So if you don't decide that quarterback is in your plans right there at number 8, I'm fine with you taking a running back if you think there's a transformative character there. And do some timeshare, do some splitting of the time. Take the workload off of Chubb. You got the best person in the world with work ethic and attitude that you could possibly set a rookie next to. It's a win-win. So I would say first round pick, second round pick. Don't worry about receiver. Judy is good. Tillman is good. Elijah Moore can be unlocked. And Njoku's good, but man, we've had so many dropped passes. I don't get it. I don't understand how. I mean, I get it. Some people catch passes easier than others, but don't you get better at that? Aren't there ways to improve that? I mean, I do say that, but I have this bad tendency of when I'm washing dishes that slippery items will slip out from my grip as I'm moving the brush around to get to it. Don't I get better at that? I would think so. God, I remember a long time ago, I was washing a wine glass and it slipped out of my hand and I tried to catch it, but it broke and I slit into my hand. And for the longest time, I could not really use my fingers the right way. Like they wouldn't close properly. I mean, it was a long time that it wasn't healing. I actually sought consultation about getting some surgery. Like why can't I actually come to think of it? That was maybe the same hand that was damaged. Maybe that was why. But yeah, you asked the same thing about Nick Chubb, the same hand that was damaged. I wonder if that was why. It's slippery this week because it had an injury before. You wonder about that with Nick Chubb. He's had multiple knee injuries, gruesome ones. But if anyone can come back from it, it's Nick Chubb, and he deserves the chance. So, look, I just think first-round pick, second-round pick, I think the Browns should absolutely go out and get a quarterback and a running back. Maybe an offensive lineman. Maybe an offensive lineman in the third. How about this? First round, second round, third round, I want to see quarterback, running back, offensive line in some order. I don't care what order, based on who is graded out as a better player on your draft board. I think that's what we have to do. First round, second round, third round, offensive line, running back, quarterback in no particular order. Because it makes sense to back up Chubb, to be the bell cow back while Chubb settles into a secondary role. However that plays out, I'm fine with both of them being on the team. A high drafted running back to be the future, because Nick Chubb's 28, 29. Age alone, let alone the injury. So it makes sense there. Get a rookie to sit and someone that Stefanski and Dorsey can work with from the beginning and really set the tone of who they're going to be. Select your guy carefully and go with them. DTR is not the answer. Jameis is a great answer as a bridge quarterback. And we got to get through this Jameis contract. We're stuck. So let's do it. Let's do it that way. And an offensive line, that most of that offensive line might need replaced. So those are my thoughts on that game. Super entertaining. Take away those pick sixes, we win. Kick the extra. And if Hopkins makes that three-pointer, if he makes that field goal, this is a totally different game. To the point where you might not be pushing as much because the score would be reflective in a different way. But I love Jameis's ability. He'd make a bad play, come right back out, and lead a touchdown drive. All right, you knocked me down, I'm going to knock you down. I mean, it was bang, bang, like a boxing match out there. And Jameis has it. Jameis has that. You just have to help him from himself. Dear Lord, deliver me from pick sixes, as he said at his press conference. He's a very, look, man, I see a lot of myself in him. I go into character mode. When I would bartend, I'm there to entertain. I'm there to engage. I'm there to bring out your personality if you have one. I'm there to put some of it back if you got too much. But like, I'm there to get conversations going between other people at the bar. I am a character. I don't know. I just go into a different version of myself. And Jameis, I mean, he is hype. He is positive. He is energetic. He's focused. He's talkative. I can relate. And the team plays better with him. We were one of the worst offenses in the league, and now it's, I mean, come on. 500 yards passing. Judy, 200 and what did he end up with? 260? That's 235 yards. 9 receptions, 235 yards. Yeah, the Nick Chubb's 2-yard average, it's concerning. A long of 10. But I think Chubb's fine. I think he's going to be fine. If there's anyone you could ever give the benefit of the doubt to, it's Nick Chubb. Hello, a la gold one on Instagram. If you have any comments, type them, and I'll try to take your questions. All right, so those are a couple of my quick thoughts on the Browns. I'll get into it a little bit more on today's later episode of Strictly Football with Mike Barrett at 5 p.m. Eastern. But let me talk about this Buckeyes game. Like I said, there has been I did a full show on this topic. I watched the game, that team up north and the Ohio State Buckeyes. But I do have some additional thoughts on it now that everything is kind of settled out. Look, the rankings have Ohio State at number 6 now, down 4 from number 2 at 10-2. Ohio State number 7 in the AP. However this shakes out, Ohio State is a top 12 team. They're sitting right in the middle of the pack, between 1 and 12, whether they're 6 or 7. They're right in the middle of the pack. You're going to have some big games here. UNLV, Boise State. I guess that's the number 20 UNLV against number 10 Boise. Does a conference champion automatically get in? I'm still trying to learn all the intricacies of how they're going to put the playoffs together. Do they have a bracket? Is there a bracket? That'd be super helpful if there was a bracket. Because, if one of the positions is going to obviously be... All right, here are the rules on the 12-team playoff. The field will consist of the top 5 conference champions, as ranked by the College Football Committee. All right, so that's the top 5 conference champions, as well as the next 7 highest-ranked at-large schools. The top 4 conference champions will be seeded 1, 2, 3, 4 and receive a first-round bye. The 5th conference champion will be seeded by its CFP ranking. If that ranking is outside of the top 12, it will be seeded 12. Okay, so you can get the upset, and then if you get the upset, the best you can be is number 12. Or the worst you can be is number 12. The first round consists of the 8 teams seeded 5 through 12 and will be played at the home of the higher seed. So I think they were saying now, by the way, they're showing Ohio State with a 99% chance of making the college football playoff. 99% chance. Because it's top 12. I like this. Because, how many seasons do you have a loss or a bad loss? We lost to Oregon. Oregon's the number 1 team in the country. We lost to them by 1 point. Are we that different from them? Yeah, we lost to that team up north. Are we that different from them? I think we had problems with, well, I'm going to talk about the problems real quick and wrap it up. But yeah, it's looking like Ohio State, if this were to happen now, that Ohio State would likely host a home game against Arizona State. Now, I know that there's different things that can happen between now and then. But yeah, Tennessee, Texas, Georgia, Penn State, Indiana, these are all 99% chance likelihood. And then Alabama, big drop off to Boise State, SMU, Iowa State, Clemson, Arizona State, UNLV, and Miami. The top 3. Here's the top 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 3, 6, 9, 12. Sorry, 12, 16. So these... And Ohio State's going to be idle. There's not much they can prove to anybody. So you're just going to go off the eye test of what they are. And you know what? They maybe have the best roster. They might have the best team in college football. But look, Penn State's playing Oregon, number 1 versus number 3. Somebody's going to win, somebody's going to lose, and probably all 3 teams, Penn State, Oregon, Ohio State, are going to get in. Georgia, Texas, 5 versus 2. They're probably going to play each other, and they're probably both going to get in. 10-3 Georgia, they're still a badass program. You go by the eye test. Are you going to put Tulane or UNLV ahead of Georgia or Texas? Indiana might get in. We'll see how it all shakes out. But just a couple of quick thoughts on that game from Ohio State. It was obvious to me that every time we threw the ball deep, it was something that team up north was incapable of handling. So why didn't we do more often? 33 passes, 2 interceptions from Will Howard. Will Howard. Ohio State's now lost 4 in a row. Let me just ask about 4 in a row. When is it time for Wait, why is my name? Oh, I didn't change my name. Has it been this way the whole time? Sorry about that. Oops. I'm not impressed with Ryan Day. Ryan Day has not convinced me that he's capable of winning the big time games when it counts. 4 in a row, lost. Haven't won in 5 years because of the Rona year. I mean, the quarterback play 9 of 16 for 62 yards. There's no way you lose to this team. Ryan Day found a way to lose. Big time players make big time plays in big time games. And when you saw the Buckeyes throwing it and that team up north having no answer for it, you throw it more often. I would like to see the NCAA revisit and reconsider their penalties, because it's only 15 yards and a first down. I think it should be more punitive than that. Do it like the pros. Make those pass interferences, make them hurt, because Michigan took their chances. They said, well, we're not going to get the touchdown. We'll get the penalty every time. And that's good coaching. It's also cheating. It's just playing dirty. But if we're playing within the rules, they said we're allowed to. Okay. But Chip Kelly running that offense. I mean, come on. Throw it deep more often. These are NFL. You're going to see these wide receivers in the NFL. We have the NFL wide receiver academy with Brian Hartline in the Ohio State University. Throw the ball. Throw those passes. Not the sloppy ones that got 2 interceptions. But look, it was missed opportunity after missed opportunity. I kept saying that live. Oh, they missed the field goal. Oh, they had turned it over. Oh, they missed how did they? It was missed opportunity after missed opportunity. Now, what do? I'm hearing rumors that Urban Meyer might be interested in coming back to take the job. Mike Vrabel is a free agent. He's sitting there as a consultant with the Cleveland Browns, getting some experience, making connections and learning and trying things and trying to improve the team. But would he like to go in? I guess Ryan Day has 2 years left on his contract, and it's massive. So it's unlikely that he'll get bought out. But if there's any school that could come up with the money from the boosters to maybe pull him aside and with his agent and go, look, we want to release you. It just didn't work out here. You know that. You can't go 5 years without beating that team up north and without bringing home a national championship. So we want to release you. We know you have a buyout. We found enough funding through the boosters. We came up with this. We'd like to release you and allow you the ability to instantly get employment at another school. Are you willing to take this buyout? Or we can drag this out for 2 more years, but let's just not say what we're going to say. I mean, they could make it a living hell on him. What does Ryan Day deserve? Ryan Day hasn't proven us anything. He hasn't won us a single national championship. He hasn't beaten that team up north. I mean, this is half a decade. At what point do you keep insanity? The definition is going back, doing the same thing again and again, expecting different results. So I got problems with that. Carnell Tate, Emeka Egbuka, Jeremiah Smith. These guys are NFL caliber wide receivers. You got to throw them the damn ball. And I know Ryan Day kind of gave up his play calling so that he could focus on the game. Sound familiar with Kevin Stefanski? What's Stefanski proven the Browns? Stefanski's never won us a playoff game. That was the COVID season, and he was in the basement. He wasn't allowed to be on the sidelines. Like, Baker Mayfield had to lead that offense. Yeah, you had some coaches step in and fill in, but Baker was the field general. He led us to the win and retired Big Ben in their stadium and had us within a helmet-to-helmet collision of Dirty Dan Sorensen on the Chiefs. When you started realizing the Chiefs that the fix was in, every time you played them, they let them get away with bloody murder. Same reason why you're going to suspend a player for hitting Trevor Lawrence, but you're not going to suspend Minkah Fitzpatrick for exploding the knee of Nick Chubb. It's just, if you're going to call the game, let everything go or be very strict. Don't be selectively strict and selectively letting things go. That's what we've had a problem with in our justice system for a long time. Rules for thee, but not for me. And if you're going to be lenient, then be lenient across the board. Don't just target certain people to destroy their lives because it serves a personal political reasoning for you. But Baker had us within one helmet-to-helmet hit that should have been called instead of a touchback for Hollywood Higgins. It should have been a touchdown, or at least it should be first and goal from the one. Nick Chubb punches it in. We win that game. We won it, but we lost it by less than a touchdown. That would have changed everything. AFC Championship game, maybe we go to the Super Bowl after beating the Bills. Maybe we win a Super Bowl. And what is the strategy? But Stefanski wasn't even the coach for that. For the win against the Steelers. He was for the loss. That not Elvis Gerbach. Who was the backup quarterback? Chad Henne. I think it was Chad Henne, ran for 20 yards or something on 3rd and forever. If the defense holds, we win that game. We have a chance to win that game. And we got outcoached. We got outplayed. We got outcoached. So my point is just saying, what has Stefanski done to earn his tenure? We've wasted prime Nick Chubb, prime Myles Garrett, prime Denzel Ward, prime Baker, prime Bitonio, prime Teller. Just look at some of like the cornerstone pieces of this team. What have we done in all the years Stefanski's been here? What have we done? Should Stefanski be the one that gets a chance to run it back? Who is responsible for the Deshaun Watson trade? Was it Andrew Berry? Or is it Andrew Berry the one who's responsible for trading for Amari Cooper, getting him for peanuts? Or trading for Jerry Jeudy, who went bonkers, got him for peanuts, relatively speaking. Locked in on a couple-year contract now. Smart moves through trade, not so much with drafting. Is he the one that deserves the chance to keep the power struggle moving forward? So the Browns have got questions at their coordinator positions, at their head coaching positions. Who gets to draft? Who gets to recruit? The Buckeyes and the Browns are in the same boat with that. Back to the drawing board. The Browns are 3-9. The Buckeyes, I mean, here's the rub. Here's the thing about the Buckeyes, though. They're still in it. The game plan is to win a national championship every year. Guess what? We're good. And we're angry and we're seething and we're looking over the tape to figure out what we did wrong. I know they're smart. I know they're going to see, well, why don't every time you throw it, they're wrapping you up with both hands. Pass interference, Michigan, 15-yard penalty, first down. Whoop. Pass interference, 15 yards penalty, against Michigan, 15 yards, first down. Okay, do more of that. If it's literally just a first down every time, go for it. Remember the Ohio State defensive back that was targeted multiple times by Indiana. Same thing happened. Keep going to them. 2 or 3 pass interference calls. It's like if you find the weakness, you exploit it. So, but I'm going to say this. I think Stefanski, by beating the Steelers and the Ravens, I think he's kept his job. It's probable that Andrew Berry's going to get another chance. I don't know about if D. Podesta gets to keep his job, kind of directing all of these analytics and trades behind the scenes. Was he the one that convinced Jimmy Haslam to go after Deshaun Watson and perhaps the worst trade in NFL history? And that includes Herschel Walker and Trey Lance. I mean, I think they gave 3 first-round picks for him too. So anyway, just there's a lot on the line for this game. For both of these teams, rather, Browns and Buckeyes. But at least the Buckeyes have a chance. They still have a chance to stay in it and make something happen. So for that, I'm grateful, and we'll be back talking sports a little bit later. Like I said, 5 o'clock, Strictly Football with Mike Barra. We'll be live. You can click and join us in the chat, and we'll do that. But coming up in just a couple minutes,